Today I'm going to talk about the big problem of inventory of Louis Vuitton, the French company. But not only the French company, most of the luxury brands are facing billions of dollars of excess of inventory and obsolete. And that's a big problem. I'm going to go back to the details why this is happening. I'm going to go back to specific ratio that you should use whatever your business and industry. And I'm going to give you a lot of examples and details why Louis Vuitton did this change from a very classic luxury brand to a fast fashion brand with this kind of products. What are the consequences, and also what are the solutions for this company and most of them not only in the luxury business to solve it and to improve their inventory situation as fast as possible. Alright, so let's talk about Louis Vuitton. I'm using a different format, sharing my screen with a lot of sources I want to share with you. Let me know if you like it in the comments. But technically Louis Vuitton has a 3.5 billion inventory issue, which is a lot of money and cash last year, but this year this is not getting better. And most of the luxury brands are facing the same challenge of excess problem. And not only the luxury, but most of the company in the world, to be honest. And why this is happening? The first thing is the group, Louis Vuitton group, net profit fall by 14% and the revenue as well, mostly driven by Asia and China. And when you look at Asia and China, like all these French and American luxury brands, they were really targeting this market because it was a really, really big market and opportunity for them. You can see this beautiful, look at this beautiful store in China. Very typical, but with the French touch. And what is interesting to see is when you see the revenue, in 2009, the biggest market was the US. And 10 or 15 years after, Asia is the biggest market by far, and it's not even including Japan inside. So you can really see that all these brands are focusing on emerging market, and in this market, it's very important to show that you are successful in a way using this prestigious brand and bring them onto you, which was really good for the luxury goods from France and America. When we look at the numbers, I just wanted to go back to these numbers. It's interesting to see what are the ratio, what's happening behind the scene. And what is really important for me is to really look what is the progression of what we call inventory value, revenue, and net profit. So I've done this with ChatGPT because now ChatGPT can be very useful. And basically what you can see is we had an amazing growth of revenue from the Louis Vuitton group. Congratulations, you can see the huge growth. And you can see on the first impression, but it's okay. We have a good growth of net profit, and the inventory looks okay, it's growing, but it doesn't look that bad, right? And this is where I really want to focus with you. It looks okay like this, but it's not. It's not, because you have to go into much more details. And what I like to check is not these numbers, and I recommend to do it whatever your industry, is to really look what is the growth of inventory and what is the growth of revenue, for example. It could be revenue, it could be sales or consumption if you're using raw materials. And you can see that every year the revenue growth is between 15%, 5%, 12%, 11%. We had, of course, the drop during the pandemic and then a huge peak during the pandemic. And what is interesting is to compare with the growth of inventory. So for example, in 2015, the growth of inventory was 5%. Here, I'm gonna do like this. So this one was around 5%, and it was plus 15% of revenue. So you can see you have a big difference. The year after, they had the same growth. And what you really want to have or not have, you want to make sure you always grow faster with revenue than with your inventory. You don't want to have this kind of situation, which is really bad, or during the pandemic, of course. But what is critical for this company is in 2023, but also 2024, this is the projection, mid of the year, 2 years consecutive, they are now growing faster with their revenue than inventory. And that's a big problem, because you want to have a much better ratio than that. And this ratio is the one I recommend to you, is another chart. You just divide the growth of your revenue divided by the growth of your inventory. So for example, if I go back to this one, you divide 15 by 5 and you have 3, okay? So you have this growth of 3. This is the ratio between revenue and inventory growth. And what you want if you are in a healthy company in terms of inventory and cash, you always want to grow faster and you want to be above this ratio of 2.5. Usually it's 2.5 to 3. So if you're in between these two lines, or much above, this is great. You are doing a great job with your inventory. If you are below this 2.5, like here, you are not in a great position, and here you are in a critical position, okay? And the problem with this company is for 2 consecutive years, they are facing this very, very poor ratio with inventory, means the inventory is growing too fast versus the revenue, my friends. Now it's a big, big problem. And you can also check with the net profit. So this is the same ratio with the net profit, and usually for the net profit, you want to target a ratio of 5 or 6. It's a bit complex, but I just wanted to give you this insight. So just take your revenue of your company now, and you just compare the growth of inventory and the growth of revenue. You do the ratio between these two, and I will be curious to see how is the situation for you. Now the question is why this is happening for Louis Vuitton. This is a classic situation and also maybe mistakes for most of the company in the world. Louis Vuitton, the origin of Louis Vuitton, it was a very simple business. They were doing very, very prestige handbag like this one, very classic Louis Vuitton. I don't have one, but this is made in France with the best quality and best product and best everything, I would say. and now this is the new Louis Vuitton. The new Louis Vuitton is like a lot of different jeans, sandals, leggings. So that's the new Louis Vuitton. And you can also see I'm on the US website and the English website, and you can see there is a lot of face from Asia, because clearly their target is the Asian market and their target is fast fashion. Okay, it's not only luxury anymore. When you look at Zara, no, it's very similar. I don't say this is the same quality, but it's very similar to Zara, right? And this is the main collection. I was really surprised by the main collection. I'm not going a lot to the Louis Vuitton shops, to be honest, but this is what you can find now on the Louis Vuitton website for the new collections. This is very, very different from what I'm used to see at 10 or 20 years ago. Now they're doing surf lifestyle products, and it's a very different game. And when you look at the pictures, they're really targeting the Asian markets. And why they're doing that? Because like in Asia, you want to show that you have money, you want to show that you are successful, which is not a bad thing, but you really want to give more opportunity to show that you have the best brand in the world. And clearly that was the good strategy over the last few years. But this jacket still costs $1,500 or $2,000. The question is, how are you going to forecast this? Because you don't have any sales history on all these products. So this is first a big challenge in supply chain, is how are you going to do that? Are you going to sell 10 products, 1,000, 10,000 with an average price of maybe $1,500, $2,000? So that's a big new challenge for all the supply chain team for Louis Vuitton for sure. And it's a lot of products like this, not only the Louis Vuitton brand, but most of the brands from the Louis Vuitton group. So you have a big challenge with all these new products. And now Louis Vuitton is becoming more than a luxury brand. It's becoming a fashion industry, and they have to reinvent themselves and all their products much faster than before, which is very, very complex to manage. I've been managing a lot of products in inventory, and fast fashion is one of the most complicating game. Okay, so now they are in this new game, and of course you can targeting much more people because you have products a bit more clearly accessible. You give more opportunity to buy more than just one bag. And clearly they are playing the same game than all this fast fashion industry. And this is a different game. This is a different game where you have a lot of excess, a lot of promotions to do. But the problem of Louis Vuitton, they cannot really do like minus 50% at the end of the sales like Zara or H&M is doing. So they have this big challenge to what I'm going to do with all my excess. Or you have perfect forecast or not. And that's what we call the masstige market. The masstige market basically is like you have the mass market, you have the prestige market, And then you have the masstige market, mass and prestige. And Louis Vuitton is moving to the masstige market, not really with the price yet, but they're targeting much more now the upper middle class than only the rich people on the planet. And they give you much more accessible products, but much more different products as well. They even say like you have a lot of studies about this masstige economy. Use the power of the brand, of a luxury brand, and you try to sell it to the middle class as much as you can. And yeah, you have very, very good article about this. I'm not going to share all of them. But it's a big challenge now for Louis Vuitton is because they need to convince much more people to go back more often with much, much more different products. It's much, much more complex to manage inventory. They had a huge growth for a few years thanks to this strategy. It's a very good marketing strategy, but in terms of operations, this is not that easy for the execution. Much more difficult if you move from having 100 products to 5,000 products. It's a completely different game. So now the question is how they can improve the situation, because right now, first, they have a big problem to clean the obsolete stock, because you cannot just promote Louis Vuitton like this. And what would be my recommendation from my humble point of view to mitigate this challenge? And the answer, you have multiple answers. You can improve your forecast accuracy, but it's always a challenge. Maybe some websites say and experts say, oh, but AI will solve the fashion excess stock problem. I don't think so. Yes, you can improve a little bit the accuracy, but I've been doing forecasts for the last 15 years and inventory management, and I didn't see a lot of improvement by now. Why? Because we made our life and business so complex. And yes, we can have some improvement, but at the end, I want to give you my solution. And my solution is keep it simple. Simplicity is the ultimate sophistication. Even Steve Jobs was mentioning that, and you can really feel that, for example, in this company. This is not the luxury brand, almost not, they're getting with the price of their new iPhone. But when you look at this kind of company, they have a very powerful brand, and they could apply it. Apple could do everything. They could do clothes, they could do TVs, they could do cars, they could do anything, but they're not doing it. And they're really focusing on only a few products. But they want to make it the best, and it's much more easier to manage the inventory, not only the inventory, but also the marketing, the promotion, when you only have few products, than when you have a lot of new products coming to the market, and all these fast fashion, new models, collections that you need to manage that are always changing, only for a few weeks, few months, etc., etc. So my recommendation for Louis Vuitton is to really slow down the growth of new products and collections, to really start to simplify and really focus on what is the revenue per model, and trying to really go back to the basics, maybe not as much as before, not as we are only doing bags now, but I think they went way too fast, and because they were growing really fast, maybe they were not checking as much as they could. But now we really go back to simplify, keep it simple, go back to ABC analysis, and maybe removing 30% of the products of the range before cleaning the situation. And maybe rethink about what is the real strategy for Louis Vuitton. Do you really want to play the fast fashion game for a while, or do you want to be maybe not a super fast growing company anymore, but a more stable and more profitable company for the next few years? So that's the question I have for Louis Vuitton, but not only for Louis Vuitton, for your company as well. Most of the time we drive too much focus on marketing, new products, and the communication, and we forget about the simplicity of the execution, and that's what I like to share with this example. So that was one of my conclusions. If you want to go deeper about inventory management and target, I recommend to watch this inventory target video talking about Tesla, Zara, and McDonald's. Also, if you want to know more about forecasting, we do have a lot of videos about forecasting, and I recommend really to watch the one about the inventory turnover ratio of Apple. Why they are so efficient and how to calculate it. That would be the first step. Okay, so that's my resource on YouTube. Also, I recommend you to check we are an online school for experts and leaders for the last 8 years now, And we provide simple and efficient methods, whatever your ERP system. And if you're in the luxury business, retail, manufacturing, I recommend you to check maybe our mini training about inventory. I will go back to all these principles, but in a much more detailed way with examples. And if you want to become an expert, I'm using models and tools for the last 15 years, and I'm sharing all of this with experts in the inventory management expert method. You can join us, become an expert, and start simplifying the way you manage inventory. And you can implement all these tools and methods to improve your service, to improve your overstock and your stock by 10 to 30%. So have a look if you are curious. I will be super happy to guide you much deeper than today. Have a great day. Let me know what did you think about this format of YouTube videos. And if you have any questions, let us know. And I see you later.